Hey, this is the El Jessel Show on YouTube here. Kind of a little bit of a break from the usual nunchuck shorts, you guys. So, you might find it funny because, or whatever, because I'm in, well, not funny in this, in the sense that you're making fun of me because I'm in this chair, but funny in the sense is what I'm about to tell you about if you want to join the service rigs in Alberta, um, as a roughneck, I'm going to tell you what to do and what not to do um, when you're trying to get on the service rigs. So most service rigs in Alberta, like it's not how it used to be. Like you don't have to get off like weed totally or whatever. You just have to be clean um, for 4 days or however many days, depending on what. That's about pretty pretty standard, because pot's legal now, right? But they if you got the ticket. Oh, and by the way, you need tickets. You need your standard ones. You need first aid. You can achieve those through online government programs. I got mine through Career Assistance Network in Alberta here, and they got agencies all in different towns throughout Alberta. So the best bet is if you don't have the money to spend on sitting in a course and getting these tickets, you get it through the government and make sure you show up to the course and all that, and then you get your tickets so you can go to work, right? So anyway, you got all that going on. You got your tickets. Now you passed your drug test, and now you're pretty much in the door. What I found was, when you go into these places, and I've kind of dressed a little bit gangsterish throughout my life, not gonna lie. I'm wearing a Biggie shirt right now and I got a chain. But I really wouldn't really suggest that you walk into one of these places looking like that, because you're not really looking like you're ready to go to work. Like, come in and, have your work boots on, whatever. Or, it doesn't have to really go that far, but have, just be ready to go to work, because they might send you right away, right? And that's pretty much what they did for me. They put me on a crew after and then they'll have a bunch of stuff for you to fill out and videos to watch on safety, such as, here's another one. Sorry to kind of get off track here, but you need your class 3. Why I say you have your class 3? Well, because if you have your class 3, it doesn't matter if you've been working there for many, many years or not, you're considered a valuable asset there in the company already. Especially if you got a clean driver's license and you haven't got any DUIs. So, let's just say, you did your stuff and and then, you pretty much walk out of that place, right? And, if you were me, I went and, I'm not going to lie, I went and had myself a puff and it was great. But I also understood that, that I wasn't going to be like that. Like, that's where I get into my next thing here, guys. If you're a pothead or whatever you are, what you do on your own time is your business, but you don't come stoned to work, because you will probably die. The amount of hard work and dangerous stuff going on a service rig is just absolutely unbelievable. So there's no way that, I've been smoking for years, but there was no way that even a guy like me would even chance it, right? So anyways, another rule about being on the rigs: when you're the low roughneck on the totem pole, so to speak, I'll give you the hierarchy. You got the roughneck, you got the derrick hand, and that's the guy that is up on the derrick, slinging the pipe in and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. You got the driller that's running the show. Then you got the tool push. Now, depending on what rig you get put on, you could have an alright tool push, or he could be a fucking asshole to you. Pardon my French. But I was unfortunate enough to get a fucking asshole the first time I was on I won't say the company, but as a tool push, and he made it his business to razz my ass, right? But they do that because they don't want you to die out there, for one thing. Like, that's another thing. I'll come into the next thing. If you want to be on an Alberta rig, you gotta understand that people are gonna be yelling at you. And if you can't handle getting yelled at and you freak out at people all the time, then the rigs aren't for you. Now here's another thing to that, okay? There's a difference between yelling at somebody to do with work, and then there's a difference between yelling at somebody just to be a fucking asshole. And I kind of understood the two of them, So and plus I'm not gonna lie, like, it does help to, I know this will sound kind of, offhand or whatever, but it does help if like boxing or martial arts or something that, like, I'm not saying that it's a requirement that you should, right? But I assume that if you're going on the rigs, you're already a fairly strapping individual, right? That could handle himself, right? Especially in a fight, and that's the thing, is you also got to be careful with these guys, because you're like way out in the middle of nowhere. And me, for example, I'll tell you about one confrontation I had. The guy was a dickhead to me all day, and I was just kind of, he was the air hand on one of the sites, and he said some reference about my mother and my current girlfriend. So like I said, that brings to the other equation, sometimes, even when you're the low man on the totem pole, when somebody fucks around with you, you got to stand on business. And that's exactly what I did. I told him to say fucking sorry to me, or I was going to punch him out in front of everybody. And I know that I can't punch him out, right, because I'm a black belt and I'll get in big shit for it. But I was kind of hoping he'd hit me, and then I was going to punch him out, right? But anyway, that's a different story. And like I said, you got to be a nice guy, but you also got to stand on business, all right? So, but you'll find, like, the first week that you're working on a service rig in Alberta or wherever you are, you'll find that they're not going to be nice to you at all. Like, they're going to really treat you like shit, and because they're going to see how tough you are, like, inside and out, right? Like, they're going to see if you can handle the work. They're going to see if you can handle getting teased. They're going to see a lot of things, right? Yeah, and like I said, I'm not going to mention companies that I work for or all that, but there's going to be that chance that somebody's going to offer you drugs, and you got to say fucking no, right? Like, because I watched a guy puff on one of the rigs I was on, and then we were fucking tailing out 4-inch pipe. And I'll tell you what that is. It's when they take the, and that'll be for another video. I'll kind of explain the processes that I saw and all that, right? But that's when they take the pipe right out of the well, and then they take it out, tail it out like this way, and then go down a little elevator, and then the people on the ground, like, depending on how they want it done, right? Like, usually they want like dunnage laid out, and then you'll throw your pipe right on the dunnage. Now, here's another thing. This is what I had trouble with sometimes. So they got these things. They're these people that like they got a little computer that goes down the well. Stealth. Okay, I'm sorry to name a company. I didn't mean to do that, but I had to do that to remember what it was all about. Stealth. That's what I remember. One company there. They always brought us food too, so I might as well share a little bit about that. That's one, and that's another thing about working on the rigs in Alberta or wherever you are. You'll get fed fucking well too. So anyway, back to the thing. So they're tailing out this 4-inch pipe, and they call out colors, eh? Like red or green or whatever. And as each pipe goes and hits it, like you go to tail it out or whatever, you got to put the color of the pipe and they'll give you a number to write down. So that's where it could fuck you up, right? So you gotta, like I said, you don't want to be high on a fucking rig site. You do not. If you want to get high, wait till you're back in the fucking hotel room. Okay? So, there you go. But anyway, the next thing is that I'm going to talk about is driving. Now, I never called myself the best driver in the fucking world. In fact, if you looked at my driving record, it's not bad, but there's a lot of fucking speeding tickets, right? But then you're driving big machines, right? And it's fucking, it's, sorry for swearing so much, by the way. It's just kind of comes out sometimes. But it's a lot different than driving a car. Now, when you're driving through the bush, a lot of times if you're the new man or like the new hire, they'll have you drive the pump truck or whatever behind the driller. Now, when that driller asks you to drive behind him, you get behind him, and you stay as far as he wants you to stay. Don't stay too close to him, but just kind of yay far. You'll see once you get, once you guys do it, right? Excuse me. And then they also on the rigs, they do rig moves in something that's called a convoy. So they'll have the driller in the front. They'll have the derrick hand, or myself, for example, that used to drive the pump truck all the time, second, and then they'll have somebody drive a pickup truck, which normally will be the driller truck. Yeah, so that's usually how the convoy works. Now, as far as like scales and stuff like that, I'm not going to tell you what's wrong, what's right. All I'm going to say is you listen to your driller, and whatever the fuck he tells you to do, you do it. Now, that kind of brings me to just arriving at the well site, spotting vehicles and all that. But you know what? That'll be for another video. But the main things, if you want to join the rigs in Alberta or wherever, got to have your first aid, H2S, standard work clothes. They'll give you coveralls, whatever, which is mint. Lots of gloves too, and they provide them, but at the same token, you want to have a fucking pair of, like a whole bag of them Green Kings. That's what they're called, Green Kings. So have a whole bag of your own, guys. And that'll bring me to my next video that I'll make. I'm not sure if I'll make it today or not. We'll see. I got time on my hands all the time, but yeah. So the main things: get your tickets, check your attitude at the door. Like I said, don't come looking like this, right? With a Biggie shirt on or a gold chain when you're walking through their office doors. Because believe it or not, a lot of rig companies, if they want you to go to work right away, they'll just send you off to work, right? So you got to be careful. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. This is the El Jessel Show. Peace.